Jeremiah was sent by the Lord to go to the potter's house. He knew where the potter was. Everybody used pots to store their possessions, to store their wheat, to store their wine, their water. We remember the story of the marriage where Jesus did his first miracle and changed the water into wine, and it was in these large earthen pots. What a wonderful utility they had. Everybody had the pot. Everybody had to know where the potter was. And the Lord sent him down, and he watched the potter turning the wheel and throwing. We call it throwing a pot. Some of you may have done this. And it's a craft. And the potter would mold the clay, and sometimes the clay would not cooperate, and he'd have to remold it and start over again with the same clay. Turning the wheel and running his hands along the rim of the pot into it to make the space in the middle. And later the clay would harden and would be useful. A wonderful picture of God molding each of us. And a picture also of the fact that we have a responsibility. We are not just passive clay. We are expected to yield to the potter. Our free will must be yielded to the potter. We must be obedient. We must be a clay that takes part in the molding. This is the kind of the message of the potter. We see the power of the potter. The power of the potter. It's absolute. I think King of Kings. I think Lord of Lords. I think it's the Father of all creation. The power of the potter is irresistible. It's like a great army that we're going up against if we seek to resist the potter. We need to count the cost ahead of time, as Jesus said in the New Testament lesson, and make peace with the potter. We need to be obedient. Yes, though there is power in the clay, we can resist if we wish. The potter allows us to resist, but we risk becoming a vessel of dishonor as we hear the potter message echoed in another part of the New Testament. Paul, you remember Paul, while he was still Saul, being met on the road to Damascus, and the Lord appearing to him as he was on his way to persecute Christians, even unto death. And the Lord asked him, as he knocked him off his horse and got his attention, he said, I'm Jesus whom you are persecuting. It is hard for you to kick against the goads. God is interested in the pot. God is interested in you. God is molding you. He wants to mold you more and more. He wants you to yield and to benefit from the molding that he has for each of us, a special molding, a special gift, a special path, a special use for your pot in the world, in his kingdom, in this church. We must not resist the potter. He has a total power, but he does allow us to resist if we are in error and if we are disobedient. In Hebrew, this passage as it ends in Jeremiah uses two Hebrew words for the way in your doings or your actions. The message of the potter from Jeremiah is the Lord is fashioning a disaster for the people of Israel, for those who disobey, for the pots that are unwilling to yield to the potter's hands. It is a disaster that comes upon such people. And it is true today of our people, of any nation today, that resists the potter's hand, and any of us as individuals that resist. Or your ways and your doings. This is a phrase we see 6 times in the book of Jeremiah. Your ways and your actions. The word in Hebrew for way is zerah. It's got a guttural sound on the end. It refers to your demeanor, your habits, your moral rectitude, your virtue, your attitudes, your thoughts, your cooperation with the heavenly potter, and your doings or your actions. These are what we would call action. It is the word halal in Hebrew. And this is a word that talks about your deeds. We remember in the book of James, he says, if you have faith, if your ways are faithful, that's good. But if your faith has not actions, then it is dead. Our ways and our doings, over and over, we see this in Jeremiah as he talks to the people of Israel. And I believe the people of Israel is a type of the church as well, and of us as well. We need to yield to the potter's hand. It is a loving potter. It is a potter that wants only the best for us in our future and our youthfulness for the kingdom. This molding process is not half-hearted on the part of the potter, and it shouldn't be on the part of we who are being molded. Jesus says in the passage that we read today, whosoever of you does not forsake all that he has cannot be my disciple. This requires total obedience, total malleability to the potter's hand, the loving potter's hand. Otherwise, what he fashions because of our resistance will be a disaster, and we will be saddened by our own lack of cooperation. I think an excellent example of this potter's activity and the fact that he wants to remold us when we resist, when we become marred as a pot, when he begins again to bring us into his will. It's not just a one-time only, how he loves us, how he pursues us to be the best vessel we can for his blessings. He wants to bless us. I think of Jonah. Jonah, called of God to do a great witnessing to the people, the heathen, sinful people of Nineveh, and how he got this wonderful call from God, and he resisted. He resisted this remolding of his life into that of a prophet and a witness for the God of creation. And you know the story. He hid, he ran away. The Lord did not give up on him. He was a marred pot, thanks to his disobedience. But the Lord remolded him in the belly of the fish and had him vomited back up on the shore. And he got the message, he got remolded, and he got with the program. And he filtered out the bad and the resistance and the disobedience and went and preached to the people of Nineveh. And we know that the people of Nineveh, who needed to be remolded, responded very, very quickly and very totally to the message that God had sent through the prophet Jonah, the resistant prophet, the hesitant prophet Jonah. And Jonah's remolding into a prophet resulted in the whole city of Nineveh being remolded and becoming a pot of honor. The Lord keeps working on us. He keeps working on us. We all need that extra effort. And even then we see Jonah needing more remolding because he really didn't care for the people of Nineveh. And the Lord had to kind of explain to him after it was over that this was a good thing that Nineveh had gotten remolded and it avoided the disaster. As the passage in Jeremiah says, if you have been blessed by God and called by God and you resist him, then you will get the actions that come from a potter who sees a disastrous pot. And he'll work with you as long as he is able, as long as you're willing to remold you. What a wonderful love that is. And if you are a pot of dishonor, if you are a person who's strayed way far from the straight and narrow, God is still willing to change his views towards you in any disaster that may be coming your way. As he says in Jeremiah, if you will change your ways and your doings and come back to me, I will change my view of you in your future and under my care. This is the God that we are worshiping today. This is the God that was in and united with in the Holy Trinity with our Savior Jesus Christ when he came, and who said to us, likewise, whosoever of you does not forsake all that he has cannot be my disciple. Let us filter out our evil ways and doings. Let us yield to the potter's touch. He sent his only Son to die for us, that we may spend eternity with the potter, with the King of Kings in the holy city, the New Jerusalem. This is a wonderful, wonderful future if we will but yield totally to the potter and to the blessings that come to us through the cross at Calvary. Let us cherish these words in our hearts, and let us filter out the evil that keeps us from being the pot of honor that the Lord wants us